Name is Edward Wagrowski, E-D-W-A-R-D. Last name is W-A-G-R-O-W-S-K-I.
Thank you. Sir, how are you employed?
I currently work with the U.S. Secret Service.
And what do you do there?
The title is a network intrusion forensic analyst. I do computer forensics, cell phone forensics, network intrusion stuff as well.
And how long have you been working with the United States Secret Service?
2 months now.
And prior to that, where did you work?
I worked with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office.
And what did you do there?
I was in the computer crimes unit.
Okay. So, before, I take it you retired from the Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Before retiring, how long did you spend there?
My entire time there was 28 years. I was in the computer crimes unit for 10 years.
Now, if you could tell us, please, what a detective with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Computer Crimes Unit would do on a day-to-day basis.
On a day-to-day basis, our job was electronic evidence, whether it's a cell phone, computer, DVRs from a business, maybe get the data from that or get the video from it or interpret call detail records.
Okay. So, Exhibit 43, it's been admitted it's your CV. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But is it fair to say that you've had specific training for your role there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us about some of that.
The main training that we go to with the Sheriff's Office was, there's an organization called IASIS to become a certified forensic computer examiner. That has a 6-month testing process after 2 weeks of training at their training event once a year. On top of that, for cell phones, there's other agencies. Celebrate has training they do for the tools that we use from them, and other agencies as far as PACCs.
When you say Celebrate, what's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Celebrate's a company, and they develop software and have tools to extract data from phones and then interpret that data.
How often in your employment with the Sheriff's Office and with Secret Service would you say that you actually analyze cell phones?
Almost every day. That's what we do.
Okay. So you went through a lot of, just now a very quick rendition of detectives' work with the Computer Crimes Unit. I didn't catch most of that. Can you simplify a little bit of that for me?
So we get the data from the phones, and then we have to take that data and put it in a format that an officer in charge of a case, an OIC, is able to look at easily. Instead of sitting there scrolling through the phone, potentially changing data, we put it in a format, we take it off of there.
When you say data, what do you mean by data?
Everything on the phone, anything. Text messages, call logs, pictures, videos, anything that's on the phone.
So the goal as a detective, when you take somebody's phone, I take it that's via search warrant?
Via search or consent, yes.
Okay, so if there's a judicial authority for you to look inside the phone, then what do you do with it?
Depending on whether the phone is locked or not, we use methods to obtain the passcodes and then extract the data or the call logs and the messages and all that stuff. And then that's, like I said before, we put in a format that is easier to look at.
Okay. And what's the overarching goal of a detective in the Computer Crimes Unit? What's the goal to obtain that information for? What you want to obtain is all the evidence, if there is any, for prosecution.
You want to make sure you get everything that is possibly on that phone to turn over to either the officer in charge of the case, who will turn it over to the prosecutor's office.
Okay. So you're with the Secret Service now.
Yes.
In this field, this specific field, do you work with other agencies as well?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that, please.
Same as with the Sheriff's Office. Any agency that reaches out that doesn't have the means to have the tools to get data off of phones, we just help them with it.
Okay. So we started to talk a little bit about your training in computer forensics. Have you been qualified as an expert in the past in this field?
Yes, I have.
How many times?
14 times.
In what areas?
Cell phone forensics, computer forensics, and then call detail record analysis.
Okay. What's call detail record analysis?
Call detail records are what you get from your carrier. If you have AT&T or T-Mobile, via search warrant, you send it off, search warrant off to the carrier to get information from a specific phone number, what towers they used, where the device might have been, stuff like that.
Okay. You mentioned cell sites?
And yeah, cell tower locations.
What's that mean?
The cell tower location is, it's an antenna for your phone, sort of like it is for your car. They're all over the place, wherever, probably within a mile of each other, half a mile of each other, depending on the population of the area. But it gives us the exact location where that cell tower is.
Okay. So in your over 10 years of experience working with the digital extraction of data from cell phones, would you say this field has changed?
Yes.
Okay. Is your training continuing?
Yes, sir, it does.
Why is that?
Well, just because the information changes, where an app might store information within the program itself, the little program, might change on every update. So we have to know where we can go to find it if the tool can't find it for us.
Okay, when you say the tool, what's that mean?
The Celebrate software, either the physical analyzer software or other methods to get the information off the phone.
So then would it be fair to say that as technology has changed and evolved over time, so is the training of computer crimes detectives?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that training continuing?
Always.
Judge, at this time I'm going to move to qualify this witness as an expert in the field of cell phone forensics and historical cell site analysis.
Okay, he said computer forensics, cell phone forensics, car detail analysis. Are those the areas?
That's what he's been qualified in the past, called detail records, but in this particular case, he's going to be qualified as an expert in the field of cell phone forensics and historical cell site analysis, Judge.
Historical cell phone. Listening?
No objection, Your Honor.
You may consider this witness as an expert in the area of historical cell phone analysis and cell phone forensic analysis.
Thank you, Judge. Cell site analysis.
Cell site.
Thank you, Judge. Sir, you mentioned that the overall goal is to extract as much information as possible. Would that be right?
That's correct.
Okay. So in a digital investigation, would you confine yourself to just a cell phone?
No.
Okay, so what else? What other areas would you look for information?
I mean, outside the cell phone, the call detail record isn't stored in the phone. We have to reach out to the cell carrier. A particular app, whether it's Facebook Messenger or Instagram or whatever, we can search warrant them to get information for somebody's account.
Okay. Now, if you could tell the jury a little bit, please, about what a cell phone does that might not be commonly known.
I mean, when you're not using it, when you're not interacting with it and swiping up and down and stuff like that, it could be updating your email, because you don't always tell the phone to update, it just does it by itself. Or it's talking to a cell tower to know exactly where you might be in case it needs to send you a message, or it knows whether you're not in range or not, so the carrier knows to hold on to that message. There's a lot going on in the background that people just don't know the function's happening, but yet it's continually happening.
Is that while a phone's powered on?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so what happens if a phone's powered off?
Nothing. It can't do anything. It can't receive.
In data extraction from Android phones?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that the same as Apple phones? iPhones?
Not entirely. How the operating system is written, it's a little different in the process in getting the data off of the phones.
What do you mean?
On Android phones, it's a little bit easier to get the data off of a phone than it is an Apple phone.
You said operating system. What does that mean?
The main function, when you look at the phone, the main screen, that's like Windows for your computer, right? Or iOS for your Mac or whatever. The operating system is the base of that phone, whether it's Android or an Apple, which uses iOS, an Apple phone. That's the main thing that makes the phone function.
Okay, and I think you said that Android operates differently than Apple?
Yes, it does.
Okay, can you explain that to me again, please?
It operates a little different on how it stores data, how it retains that data, whether it's a file-based encryption, whether it's even encrypted at all, depending on the phone that you have, the manufacturer of that phone, and where it stores that data.
Now, are you able to obtain someone's locations based upon a device?
You can, yes.
Tell me how that works.
The phone's always looking where you are. Obviously, it's talking with towers. The tower tells the phone where it's at. For advertising purposes, let's say Google, for example, they put those little cookies on your phone so it knows where you're at all the time, right? And it knows that you like going to Burger King. So every time your phone knows that it's near Burger King because the map app is being used, it's going to tell you, oh, there's a Burger King nearby, or it'll pop up in your Facebook message feed or whatever. So that's, yeah.
All right, cookies, what's that?
Those are little trackers, I guess, to make it simple. It's a little tracker that's embedded in however the phone interacts with either the internet or an application. It's a little nugget that just sits on your phone, waiting to be activated, to tell either Google where you're at, Apple where you're at, and to give the user a better experience with their phone.